I didn't like consider your emotions as much as I should. I miss being in bed with you. I miss you. I miss what we were building. Please come here. I know I miss you.
I'm very conflicted because I wasn't going to say anything about this topic. If you know me, you know that once the show ends, I keep it stepping, I move on to the next thing. But I'm bored. There's no Married at First Sight today. So here we go. Here we are. There is drama, and I feel the need to say something. When I ride for someone, I ride hard, and I always try and defend the people that I feel are being wronged. And in this situation, I don't think that Leanne and Scott deserve all this nonsense that Whitney and Belle are bringing up to them. It really is appalling. If you look at it, it really is appalling. Anyway, hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's your girl, Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about Scott, Leanne, Whitney, Belle. I might include a couple of more people, but this is my opinion. I was going to write something, but then I thought it's not going to give me enough time to speak. It's not going to give me enough time to put out what I want to say. So anyway, here we go. I personally am side-eyeing Whitney and Belle. I think Whitney and Belle should have just kept quiet for a bit. Belle should have said she struggled with her mental health after the backlash from the villa, and this is why she took time to step away from the media, and she should have run with mental health if that's what she was running with. And that would have been fine. People would have empathized with her that, oh, she went through a hard time, she did this, that, and the other, and that would have been it. Whitney, on the other part, if she had a problem with Scott, Scott has written hard for Whitney. He's written hard for Whitney. He's gone after people because he felt he was defending his friend. And so for her as a friend to not go behind the scenes and say to Scott, Scott, I know I said some things that might have agitated you or some things that might have upset your girl. I'm really sorry. I want to apologize. Can we sort of sit down, have a conversation? Either we hash it out. If we cannot sort of reach common ground, then we keep it stepping. But for her to come out and do this and continue to pile on Leanne doesn't make sense. I remember in the villa, I said this. I said, Scott is going to be put in a position whereby he's going to have to choose either someone he loves or a friendship. And at that point, sadly, my money's on Whitney losing. And here we are. This is what I think. This is just my opinion. I think this season of Love Island All Stars was centered around Scott. Hear me out. I think they tried to do what they did with Love Island Games in the sense that they brought in Tyreek and they brought in Tyreek's friend just for his companion because they brought in Toby. And I think this is what they tried to do on Love Island All Stars because they were struggling to get people. So I have a feeling Scott was at the center of the casting of whoever came into the villa. I'm going to say this. Not that he had input, but I think production wanted people that would mesh with him very well and end up with a scenario like they did in Love Island Games. So I have a feeling they asked Scott, who would you like to come in with you? And he must have thrown Kieran's name in the hat because Kieran is his best friend. He couldn't call Luca because Luca's already with somebody else. Mitch is already with somebody else. And Ty, it would have been too much conflict between him and Ty, so they would have been bumping heads. So I am willing to bet Scott's option for the guys was what's his name? Kieran. And then I think on the girl side, he spoke to his friend Whitney, his best friend, and said, let's run it. Whitney said, let's run it. And then Whitney sort of suggested bringing in Jess. Right. And I think once they had those four people, then they decided, who shall we bring in that will sort of align with these people? And I think Scott, Kieran, maybe not so much Kieran, but Whitney must have suggested some names or whispered some names to production, and then production had the random castings. People like Shaq, people like Leanne were random. People like Tommy, Sean, they were random picks, in my opinion. They were random picks. Helena was a random pick, but I think the people that came with Whitney, so Jesse, Sammy, and Belle, I think that was a group of people that decided, okay, let's do this. Millie was brought in because of the likability. And I think production, having looked at those people, realized that, oh, Scott could have his pick. But then decided to bring in a random black girl, which was Leanne, because they knew that he had been in a couple with Catherine. This is just my opinion. I'm just looking at it that way. And everybody else who was cast, I think, was cast just because there were people that production liked and they wanted to change the narrative of their previous season. With Charlie, I think he was a random cast, and I think this is why he and Scott clashed and sort of butted heads for the first couple of days, because they were trying to get who's big dog in the villa, until suddenly Charlie was sent home and Scott was left in the villa. I think the four girls, and Scott and Kieran, must have had a conversation to say, if we do not find a partner in the villa, we're going to fake it till we make it. So we're going to be in couples until we get to the very end. And I think this is why when Whitney said Sammy is Scott's type, she was trying to save Scott for her friend, as they had previously discussed. And so I think Scott, being left, I don't think he was ever going to be a main cast. I don't think so, because he's too good looking and he comes with more of a resume than most of the people that were in the villa. So he would be more effective as a bombshell, and especially as the first bombshell, as we've seen in previous seasons. So I think him coming in, there must have been a conversation between the girls that either he would end up with Sammy or he would end up with Belle. And so Whitney was on board with that idea. So when he came in and he picked Belle and Leanne, I think Leanne, they didn't think much of her. They just thought you'd be bored by her and you'd keep it stepping. So when you look at his initial conversations with Belle and with Leanne, Belle was very flirty. She was really flirty and she thought she had it in the bag. Leanne was more reserved, and I think this took Scott off. It was sort of not sort of took him. I think it shocked him, because especially when she said to him, "I'm going to be honest. I want someone who's serious, someone I click with, and someone who's in it for the right reasons." And you could actually see on his face when she said to him, "I'm going to be honest," that he was sort of like, "How come she's not sort of hyping me up and telling me I'm God's gift to womankind," and everything else he was used to. And so for her saying that to him, I can understand why it would have taken him 2 days to sort of sum up the courage to go back again. Because I think that sort of knocked the wind out of him. Even in the challenge, when they started the challenges, he started off by going for Belle and everybody else, until eventually he kissed Leanne. And I think once he kissed her, he still had to sort of get the courage to come back and sort of present himself the way he was used to sort of presenting himself, and the girl sort of lapping it up. And I think once he had the conversation with Leanne and realized that, oh, there's more to this girl than I actually thought. She's not just a beautiful person. And then going into the secret garden and everything that happened in the secret garden, his mind shifted, because when he stood at the fire pit and he said, I've decided that this is the direction that I want to go, this was him signaling to his friends that, I don't want to play any games anymore. I want to try this out because I think I like this. Whitney, I think, must have sensed that something was going awry. This is why she kept trying to sort of turn him away from Leanne. She's tried to come up with so many reasons. Ty tried to give a justifiable excuse by saying, say you were trying to protect her from Scott because of how he treated Catherine. Scott was in it with Catherine, but not as much. I didn't see it. So at the time of the show, I've always felt like, what exactly is Whitney's motive? Is it because she likes Scott in a romantic sense? Or is it because she feels like Leanne doesn't deserve to be with Scott? Or is it because she's worried about her friendship with Scott, that if he eventually stays with Leanne, then what is her position in this sort of relationship? And another part of me thought maybe she might want Catherine and Scott back together again. And because Catherine did she did the sister's podcast, and she was saying, Scott, he's always on TV shows, so there's no any time for us to run it back. Maybe when he stops running it back, when he stops these reality shows back to back, we might run it back. And so I always had so many questions in regards what is Whitney's motive. Looking at the interviews that they've done, her and Belle, there's so many holes in those conversations, so many holes. There are too many to count. I'll pick up a couple of things. First of all, let's start with the situation whereby Belle is saying that Scott went for a root canal treatment and he went several times. I've had a couple of root canals. I know it does take a couple of attempts for them to sort of make the holes, get rid of the nerves and all that take place. And so my question is, where was production when he was asking for a phone? Because I would assume production would have given him a chaperone. There's no way ITV is responsible for him while he's receiving treatment. There's no way, unless he was in a sterile environment and the dentist is not that sterile that they'll say sit on the outside. So they could have easily sat in a corner while he was having his teeth done. And if he's having his root canal done and he's being numbed and everything else, where would he get the phone from? Unless he's getting it from production. make it make sense. That story on its own does not make sense because what dentist is, I can't walk into my dentist today and say, oh, can I borrow your phone? I want to research something. For what? And the chaperone be there and watching me and say, oh, no, it's okay, you can go ahead and research it. That doesn't make sense. That's a narrative that Whitney and Belle came up with, most likely Belle. One. Two, them saying that, oh, he realized that, that Leanne was the popular girl. This is why he wanted to couple up with her. He realized that Belle was the popular girl. This is why. It doesn't make sense because Scott, from the time he coupled up with Leanne, he was all in. I remember when Leanne was in the bottom three, Scott looked like he was about to cry. At one point, Whitney was actually shocked because she couldn't understand because he was rubbing his eyes. He was that distraught, he didn't know what to do with himself. And then when she was safe, he became the big man on campus and was saying, no, I would never have left with her. But he had feelings for Leanne and was very distraught because of that. I remember even saying that I think this whole narrative with Cher was because he was trying to get Leanne a fan base, people to rally around her, and he decided to be the bad guy in the couple. That way, the fans would support Leanne, and then he and Leanne could continue to wherever they were going. And so the idea that they're saying that, oh, Scott, he was told that Leanne is the favorite, that's why he coupled up with her. He was told Belle is the favorite, this is why. That doesn't wash because the very first vote that took place, Millie was told she was the favorite girl. Scott was told he was the favorite guy. He went on a date with Leanne, came back from his date. Kieran pulled him for a chat and told him, Millie says she likes you. She says she wants to explore a romantic connection with you. And he told Kieran, if I am going to have a chat, she will have to pull me for a chat. One, if she pulls me for a chat, I'm going to tell Leanne what we've discussed. And she will have to have a conversation with Leanne to explain exactly what's happening. Because at the end of the day, I want everything to be out in the open for Leanne. We also how when she pulled him, he started saying, oh, I had a lovely day today. Sort of to tell her, I had a lovely day, don't ruin it. More or less. That's what he was saying, in my opinion. So he immediately shut Millie down without shutting her down, and she realized that it was a no-go area, and she sat down. Scott was all about Leanne. There are a couple of things that I noticed during the season. For example, when he coupled up with Cher, and then I feel like, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I feel like Scott agreed to couple up with Cher on the basis that Leanne would couple up with Tommy. That's where my money stands. I feel like that's what happened. I feel like all the other guys were told you can't pick Leanne, and Tommy had to be the one to couple up with Leanne. Because when Tommy started giving his speech, Scott was doing the theatrics of rubbing his face. And then the more he spoke highly of Leanne, the more Scott's face changed. And you could see that he wasn't happy. He was now questioning his decision of whether this was a good idea. When they coupled up in their new couples, Scott slept directly across from Leanne. He could have slept downstairs. Leanne could have slept downstairs with Tommy, but he slept directly across on the same side so that he could keep an eye to see what was happening there. The idea that people are saying Scott was playing games, yes, I agree that they could have come into the villa and they could have agreed that if things don't work out, we'll just couple up together as friends, pretend to be romantic couples until the very end, and then if a couple of months later we could turn around and say it didn't work out. That I could say it. But sadly for the group, Scott developed feelings for Leanne. And because he developed feelings, the plan went out the window. He told them as soon as he coupled up, before he coupled up actually, that I have decided to take a different route. And they didn't believe him because I think they thought he was going to couple up with her for a bit and then eventually you'd move on. Belle, I think, telling Leanne about her dad's wealth and whatever, thought that at some point, whatever she wanted, she could have it. And Leanne would take a step back and just say, whatever you want, you madam. The situation between Whitney and Leanne and Belle, to me, doesn't make sense. Whitney is saying that the reason why Belle went after Scott is because Leanne kissed Yemen in the game and then she took him to the secret garden. Belle was the first person to kiss Scott. She kissed Scott and she said Scott was the best kisser and she wanted to kiss him again after Cher had kissed Scott. And seeing that, Leanne decided, if you are going to play stupid games, I'm going to show you who's the biggest gamer. And I think she chose Yemen, not because she liked him, but she knew Scott would feel some type of way because most of the other guys were her friends. And she understood she couldn't kiss Kieran, she couldn't kiss Carrington because they were Scott's friends, which left everybody else. And she didn't want to open doors that would sort of create situations she was unable to untangle herself in. And So I think this is why she went for Yemen. Before she went to the secret garden with Yemen, she cried. She pulled Whitney for a chat. Explained to Whitney to say, I will be pulling these people for a chat. She couldn't come out and say the production is telling me that I need to pull these people. When she pulled Yemen, she apologized to him and said, I'm sorry I'm bringing you into this mess. She sat down, I'm sorry I'm bringing you into this mess. But Whitney won't acknowledge that. She is dying on the cross that, oh, Leanne was the first one to open the door to Karma because Leanne pulled Yemen to the secret garden. Yemen could have said no. When Scott was pulled to go to the secret garden by Shay, he said no. Why didn't Yemen say no? Yemen wanted to be in the mix. He wanted to be a part of the drama. Even when they sat down, he knew Leanne didn't like him. They sat interview style the same way Scott and Belle sat interview style in the same secret garden. So the idea that we're now putting this on Leanne's doorstep doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense to me. It's very confusing in the sense that how are we excusing nonsense is more or less. How are we excusing nonsense? How are we saying it's okay for Belle to kiss Scott, pull Scott to the secret garden, grind on Scott in the heart rate challenge? I urge everyone to go and see how inappropriate that was, because had Leanne done that, then Whitney would have been flying off the walls. But it was okay because it was Belle doing it. Scott felt uncomfortable. Had a guy done that to Belle, there would have been charges against him. I said this during the show, and I'll say this again. So the idea that we have Whitney sort of supporting Belle and trying to throw Leanne under the bus doesn't make sense. I have never been a champion for Whitney. I sort of liked her when she was with Maddie, and then she started moving weird, and I just went off her. So I am indifferent to Whitney. If you're a Whitney stan, I'm sorry. I'm indifferent to Whitney. What I don't like is the things that she does and says that sort of make you sort of side-eye and sort of question. She cries that she's a black girl in the industry. She cries that people are not treating her fairly. And yes, she's dragging down somebody else. I said this during the show, and I'll say this again. I need Leanne's friends to assemble. Let's go Power Ranger style, because at the end of the day, Leanne is being dragged because a guy liked her. Leanne is being dragged because the guys thought she looked beautiful and she was popular amongst the guys. Because had Leanne come into the villa and had none of the guys shown interest, Whitney would have been happy. The fact that this wasn't the case, even Yemen himself, I have a feeling, if not for Scott, he would have wanted to pursue Leanne, but he had to lift up his hands and go for Whitney. So the idea that Whitney suddenly is aligning herself with people that are bringing hate towards Leanne doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. Their story about Scott and the phone, I am not buying it. I really am not buying it, because at the end of the day, Scott, whatever was happening, he kept talking about Leanne. When he had chats with Cher, or he was discussing Cher with the guys, he would say, oh, I also need to speak to Leanne. I think production was stopping him from speaking to Leanne, and he thought if he brings up Leanne's name in the conversations, production will have no choice but to let him speak to Leanne. And so had he started speaking about Leanne after Villa USA, then I would buy it. Apparently there's this voice recording of Scott and Belle having a conversation. They don't need to show us the video footage. They can just play the sound. They really can play the sound. We all remember what happened on Love is Blind when that girl made false allegations about someone. The production were able to play it. I really wish, if it is there, let us hear it. Let us hear it. Belle cannot accept the fact that somebody rejected him. That's it. She cannot accept that this guy didn't like her, didn't feel her romantically. And so for her, it's not computing. It's not reaching home. And this is why she's being as weird as she is at the moment. I think there is a problem in the sense that these girls did not expect Leanne and Scott to sort of flourish after the villa the way they are. They expected Scott to sort of lose interest once they left the villa, but instead Scott is becoming more and more obsessed about Leanne, to the extent that he's introduced her to everybody in his household, from the little nieces, what do you call those? I don't mean to call it a rat. What do you call it? A guinea pig. All the way up to his mum. Everybody has met her. Horses and nieces and nephews and uncles and cousins and whatever. Everybody has met Leanne. This is not something they expected. And this is why there is a problem. Every time Leanne and Scott do something positive, the other crew have to find a negative to sort of put out to try and bring it down, which doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Leanne and Scott are celebrating having gone to Wales, having had a great time, and suddenly we have these podcasts come out, which are more April's Fool than anything else, because it doesn't make sense why the stories are not aligning. I agree with Scott. They had 3 weeks to sort of come up with a story, and sadly they forgot the facts once they were in the corner. And I don't know. I want the podcasters to now come out and have an interview of their own and let us find out how they feel, knowing that the stories that they were told are two totally different stories anyway. Make it make sense. I'm not buying it. I personally would love Leanne and Scott to just keep quiet and just keep it cute and just watch what is happening and leave it to the rest of the community to support them and fight their battle. Because at the end of the day, it's a no-win situation. They need to remain cutesy as a couple. They need to enjoy themselves, and that's it. I love that the friends are being activated. I love that his family is activated. And I don't know what the long-term plan for Belle is outside of just bringing Leanne and Scott down or just tearing them apart. Sadly for Belle, Scott's family fell in love with Leanne. Scott's sister is smitten. She's in love with Leanne, and she will always uplift Leanne. So the idea that Belle thinks this is going to benefit her in any way doesn't make sense, outside of the fact that she just wants them to break up. I love that Mitch, we all know, can't keep a secret. And part of me thinks Scott told him about the trip to Iceland just to wind these girls up and just get on their nerves, because we had someone bragging that Scott doesn't have money. He can't afford the lifestyle that Leanne wants. Well, Leanne is going to Iceland. You went to Paris. Paris, you can go EasyJet, £30. Leanne is going to Iceland, to a totally different continent. How about that? Let us say that. I think there's a bit of jealousy, a bit of envy that's taking place, in the sense that there are things that are happening to Leanne and Scott that are not happening to the other people, the people that are active on social media. Leanne and Scott had more press interviews than the actual winners of the show. Leanne and Scott have taken things so formally, to the extent that what Scott has done for Leanne is what Mimi did for Josh, in the sense that Mimi brought Josh to Portsmouth and she introduced him to her whole family. Scott has done this. What else does Leanne want as reassurance that this man is all about her? I think it's envy. I think it's jealousy. This is what is taking place. I really need Leanne's friends to activate. I really do. I know they must be pacifying her and standing behind her in private, but I think they need to speak up. Her friends in the industry need to speak up. Sadly, her friends are cutesy girls. They don't seem like they like the drama. People like Kaz, people like Mimi don't like drama. Tanya, yes, might be ready to ride when she's called upon, but I don't think she can ride on her own. So I really want, the girls in the industry to have a conversation. I said this during the season, that the girls in the industry need to have a conversation with Whitney and ask her, what is your problem? Because this is a bit too much. Everybody can see it. Even on her live with Ty, at one point you saw Ty sort of physically distance himself away from her because of the things that she was saying, the shades that she was throwing at Scott, knowing that he had already traveled down this path with Whitney. So this is nothing new to him. And so I don't know how much mileage Whitney thinks she can get from this. I don't know how far she thinks these girls can support her, because at the end of the day, when things fall apart, they're going to unite, and she's going to be on the outskirts, and she's going to regret, because she let go of someone who was very supportive, someone who would have done anything and everything to make sure that she was okay, which is really sad. But anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from season 3 All Stars. Bye guys.